In New York City, a woman named Amanda is packing her things. Actually, she's planning to spend some quality time with her family over the weekend, so she has rented a beach house outside the city. Now we see Amanda, her husband Clay, their son Archie, and daughter Rose arriving at the rental beach house for the weekend. They all really like the house. After a while, Amanda goes to the market to get some groceries. There she notices a man taking lots of water bottles and food items from the store. It seems strange to Amanda, but she decides to ignore it. Later, we see the family heading to the beach to enjoy their time. But soon, a massive oil ship suddenly appears, heading straight toward the area where they're sitting. Seeing this, people on the beach start panicking. Fortunately, no one gets hurt in the chaos. A security guard informs them that the accident might have happened due to a malfunction in the navigation system. When the family returns to the house, they realize the internet isn't working and there's no signal on the TV either. Even more surprising, a pair of deer show up near the house and just stand there staring at them. That night, while Amanda and Clay are talking, someone knocks on the door. When they open it, they find a man named George and his daughter Ruth standing outside. George says, "This is my house." He tells Amanda, "I'm the one who emailed you about renting this place." He explains that they had gone to a party, and on their way back, the city experienced a sudden blackout, so they came here to stay. Clay seems to believe George's story, but Amanda doesn't trust him. Sensing the doubt, George tells her, "I'll give you half your money back. We'll just stay here for one night." Then George opens a locker right in front of them, takes out some money, and hands it over, saying, "We'll stay in the basement." Clay agrees to let them stay in the house, but Amanda still doesn't fully trust George and Ruth, so she asks George to show some ID. George responds, "My ID was in my coat. We left the party in a rush and I ended up leaving it behind." Just then, Ruth turns on the TV. A message flashes across the screen. A national emergency has been declared in the United States. During this time, all radio, TV, and internet services will remain suspended. Seeing this, they begin to suspect that some kind of attack may have happened in the country. After a while, George and Ruth head to the basement. There, Ruth tells George, "We need to get them out of this house." But George replies, "That wouldn't be right. Let them believe everything is fine." It seems George might actually know what's really going on outside. The next morning, Rose wakes Amanda up and says, "Phones, TV, internet, nothing is working." Actually, Rose was frustrated because she had planned to watch the finale of Friends. As soon as Amanda wakes up, she checks her phone and sees some news alerts. They mention a nationwide blackout, power failures, and the possibility of a cyber attack by hackers. One of the alerts appears to be corrupted. Then we see Clay heading to the market to pick up a newspaper, hoping to find out what's really going on. At the same time, George also leaves, deciding to visit a friend's house a few miles away to get more clarity on the situation. Meanwhile, Rose sees a herd of deer outside. The deer are standing very close to the house, staring directly at it, which feels extremely odd. Rose tells Archie what she saw, and the two of them decide to explore the nearby woods. There they come across a cabin. From inside the cabin, they can clearly see their beach house in the distance. After spending a little time there, they start heading back. But on the way, a small insect bites Archie on the foot. Elsewhere, George arrives at his friend's house, but what he finds is shocking. The house has been flooded, the windows are shattered, and the place looks completely abandoned. George calls out for his friend, but there's no sign of him anywhere. Inside the house, George finds a satellite phone. He tries to contact someone using it, but surprisingly, even the satellite phone isn't working. Then George walks down to the beach behind the house, and what he sees leaves him in shock. A plane has crashed there. Bodies are scattered all over the sand. Before George can even process what he's seeing, another plane appears in the sky, heading straight toward the beach. Seeing this, George starts running, and right before his eyes, the second plane crashes too. Meanwhile, as Clay continues driving, he sees a woman speaking Spanish, crying and trying to talk to him. But Clay doesn't understand her language, so he leaves her and moves on. Neither the radio nor the GPS in his car is working. Suddenly, a drone appears above his vehicle, dropping hundreds of pamphlets from the sky. Panicked, Clay makes a U-turn and heads back toward the house. But soon, the falling pamphlets completely cover his car. Back at the house, George returns and tells Amanda everything he saw. "This isn't just some minor attack," he says. "They've taken out the satellites too. This is a major cyber attack." Amanda doesn't take him seriously until George mentions the plane crash he witnessed on the beach. Hearing this, Amanda begins to panic. As the two are talking, a loud, high-pitched sound suddenly pierces the air. It's so intense that they cover their ears. The windows start to vibrate violently. The sound becomes unbearable. Fortunately, after a few moments, it stops. Archie then says, "I didn't cover my ears properly when that sound hit. Now my head feels weird." Amanda tries to comfort him, saying, "It's okay. You're going to be fine." After everyone goes back to their rooms, Amanda confronts George. "What is really going on? And what was that sound?" George replies, "I've already told you everything I know." At this moment, Amanda realizes something. Maybe that man she saw earlier at the store, the one taking loads of water bottles and food, already knew something was coming. George hears this and says, "That was probably Danny, my contractor. He's always buying supplies in bulk." A little while later, Clay returns to the house. He's visibly shaken and holding a pamphlet, one that had fallen from the drone. The pamphlet is written in Arabic. Archie looks at it and recognizes a sentence, something he had seen before in one of his video games. The phrase says, "Death to America." That's when Clay and Amanda realize they can't stay here any longer. They need to leave. George tries to stop them and says, "Going into the city isn't a good idea. You're safer here." But they ignore George's warning and decide to head out toward the city. As they drive, they come across a roadblock, a massive traffic jam. The road is packed with cars, but strangely, there's not a single person around. Amanda steps out of the car to take a closer look. What she finds is eerie. All of the vehicles are brand new Teslas, but there are no drivers inside. The cars were in autopilot mode, moving on their own and colliding with each other. They had driven themselves to this point and blocked the entire road. The path into the city was now completely shut down, packed with crashed cars. It was impossible to get through. That's when Amanda realizes someone has hacked the car's systems. Meanwhile, more Tesla cars begin arriving on their own, flooding the road even further. Fortunately, they manage to escape before getting hit and make their way back to George's house. Later that night, we see Rose, frustrated and restless, still upset that she couldn't watch the Friends finale. Inside the house, George and Amanda are having a serious conversation, while Clay and Ruth are sitting outside. Suddenly, they notice something strange. A flock of flamingos has shown up and is swimming in the pool. Before they can even process this bizarre sight, the same deafening sound from before blares through the air again. The power goes out immediately. The next morning, Amanda wakes up to find Rose asleep in her bed, but Archie's teeth are, strangely, starting to fall out. Seeing this, both Clay and Amanda begin to panic. To make things worse, Rose is nowhere to be found. George tells them, "It's impossible to get into the city now. But Danny, the man you saw at the market, he lives nearby. He seemed prepared for something like this. He might have medicine too." Next, we see Amanda and Ruth heading into the forest to search for Rose, while Clay and George take Archie and go to Danny's house. Amanda and Ruth eventually reach the same cabin where Rose and Archie had gone earlier. They search inside the cabin but don't find anything. But as they step outside, they see that a large group of deer has surrounded the cabin. Fortunately, they manage to scare the deer away by yelling loudly. Here we begin to understand that the cyber attack has affected more than just technology. It's also disrupting the environment. Even animals and birds are behaving strangely, moving in tightly packed groups instead of their usual patterns. Meanwhile, Clay and George arrive at Danny's house with Archie. They knock on the door, but instead of opening it, Danny appears at the window and tells them to keep their distance. It feels odd. Moments later, Danny comes out, holding a gun. George explains what's happening to Archie, how his teeth are falling out on their own, and asks for help. Danny replies, "It's probably because of that loud sound you heard. That was a military microwave weapon. It emits radiation carried through sound waves." He adds, "The same thing happened in Cuba a few days ago. Look, I can't help you, but your neighbor, Mr. Thorne, he recently had work done in his basement. Maybe try there." Danny makes it clear he won't be offering any more help. George refuses to leave without something. In response, Danny points his gun at them. George, in turn, points his gun back at Danny. Somehow, Clay manages to de-escalate the situation. He pleads with Danny, "Put yourself in my shoes. We just need a little help." That softens Danny's stance. He finally agrees to give them some medicine for Archie. Clay shows Danny the pamphlet written in Arabic, the one dropped from the drone. Danny looks at it and says, "This is just meant to mislead us. This attack wasn't done by Arabs. It was probably the Koreans or the Chinese." Clay and George begin their journey back. On the way, George says to Clay, "My biggest client works in defense. He told me about a simple, 3-stage secret program, a system that can be used to bring down any government. Stage 1 is isolation, where all communication and transportation is shut down. Stage 2 is synchronized chaos, a combination of secret attacks and widespread misinformation designed to create national panic and disorder. And if both stages succeed, Stage 3 is automatically triggered, civil war and a coup, which means this wasn't an attack from a foreign enemy. It was orchestrated from within the country by forces seeking to overthrow the government." George says, "We have to survive this situation no matter what. Just like Danny said, we need to get to Mr. Thorne's house. That might be the only safe place left." Meanwhile, Amanda and Ruth see massive explosions going off in the city. The entire city is crumbling. The civil war has already begun. And then, somehow, Rose finds her way to Mr. Thorne's house. And yes, there actually is a secret underground bunker there. It's stocked with food, supplies, and entertainment. On the computer screen in the bunker, a warning is flashing. Alerts about radiation levels rising and continued attacks in the city. Rose smiles. She finds a DVD of the Friends finale and finally sits down to watch it. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.